Hi, Kate. So I've found that doing a screencast is usually the easiest way to provide feedback. So that's what I'll be doing is just going through your course in the context of the screencasts. So the first thing that I always recommend doing is just to clean up this navigation menu on the side. Whenever students see an open link, then naturally they'll want to go in there making the assumption that something that they need to be successful in the class is there. Since you're utilizing modules, then I suggest paring it down to a very simple navigation menu. The rule of thumb I use is that anything I don't know what it is, then I move it down there, and then I can always enable it later on. The research help, this is totally up to you. I'll leave it right now, but the smart thinking online tutoring is definitely something that we want to keep. Collaborations and conferences, you can enable those as you use them. Outcomes, we feed those in from Illumin. I'm happy to provide some guidance on that as well. So things like the quizzes, the discussions, and the assignments, that's completely up to you if you want to leave them out or have students utilize them just via the modules. I go back and forth on this decision. The temptation for students sometimes can be to go directly to those assessments instead of going through the module information. Definitely files and pages, since you're utilizing the modules to house that information. It provides a little bit more safety as an instructor, so that is only accessible with through the modules. Grades, of course, you want them to have access to that. So for now, I'll keep your assessments out. And then this is one of the few places that you do have to save. So one of the things to note on your homepage, looks great, very welcoming, but as a student, even though many know to go to modules, I wouldn't know where to go from here. Again, especially in an introductory course, you might get some students that are brand new to Canvas. So make sure and have somewhere on here on this onboarding page where they would go next. So looking at your modules, the first thing that I would suggest is to put in the title, when you have them, the actual dates that students have to complete the entire module. This is another visual way for students to be able to see this is exactly the amount of time they have for the entire module. Love that you're putting right here the date that items are due. So one of the major movements that I would recommend in this module is to move the submit here reflection actually to the bottom of the module, if I'm understanding correctly, and if not, then definitely keep it there. But this seemed like it was a reflection on all of this information here that was red. So it might be better to put it after they've read the content, as long as I'm understanding what the purpose of that is for. So right here in this module, what I did was to put the chapters the students need to read up at the front. They've got the whole PDF and they might have downloaded it, but this is just one of the resources you can provide them so that those chapters are directly in the modules that they're going to have to read it, and it's broken up so that they can more easily get to those smaller pieces if they need to, and I'll load those into the files for all the chapters. So the other thing that I always recommend is to, as much as possible, instead of having just files put into the modules, actually put them in onto the pages. So I've taken the lectures, and also when you have both of those files there, without providing the context, students wouldn't be sure if they're different, if they're the same, so they would spend a lot of time going through both of those to figure out what are the similarities or differences between them. So what I recommend doing is to put those files actually on a page and to give some context. A lot of times in a fully online course, we forget about the things that we say to students to prep them for a lecture, to prep them for that PowerPoint. Putting those PowerPoints on a page gives us the opportunity as the instructor to give that introductory information. So I have that highlighted right here. What I've also done now is I loaded the PowerPoint onto that page and then enabled an inline preview, and I'll show you how I did that real quick. So I have it on the page and I uploaded that file, and I had the cursor blinking in the middle of that file, and you go to link, auto open inline preview, and then update link. And this enables students to preview the file without having to download it. And then I also put the PDF right here and told them they can download the PDF, and here's that link right there. So they have both of those options that you did a great job of providing to students, but you're also able to give them that context and while they can review the PowerPoint right in that module. So same thing right here, you have a link and the student clicks on that and it takes them over into YouTube. One of the things that I highly recommend is to put all YouTube links directly onto a page, because what happens is now the student is over into YouTube and there can be all sorts of fun distracting things to take a look at. I know for me, I'm highly distractible, and as soon as I navigate away from the task at hand, it's going to take a little bit to bring me back. So on that video, you can actually get the embed link. So I hit the share button, embed, and then I just copy that, copy Control C, or you can do the copy button right there. I'm coming back over here, and then I created a page for this to be housed on. See right here. So edit. And again, you want to add some context to the student of what to look for. Then my cursor is down there, insert media, embed, and I'm just going to paste Control V, that embed code right there. And save it. And now you see that this is right here within the context of Canvas. You're not navigating them out. It'll render real nicely. It's going to stream from YouTube, so you don't have to worry about using extra bandwidth. And then you're able to provide that context right there. I'm going to go ahead and just highlight this for you. So in Canvas, with the ability to link, you're able to... So as I was reading over this assignment, one of the things that was a little bit unclear to me is right here you are stating that they're working with peers. So I know this is a hybrid course. I just wanted to make sure that you'll have the explanation of working with peers and what they're going to be doing in the class, because as you read the instructions right here, that wouldn't be quite clear to me as a student. And just a recommendation here, so if they're working collaboratively, you can also recommend Google Docs, or for them to use O365 to collaborate as well. Again, I'm not sure with the introduction of the assignment how it will be. So one of the thoughts that I had started to say up here is that you can also have just the form right here instead of having it multiple places in Canvas in the other module. But the other thing that I would recommend even more, or just to think through, is down here you have it as the standalone case study, and so it's no different than having it embedded in here, because they would just download the file. But what you could do is put this file onto a page and then create a quick video going a little bit more in depth to describing what this case study would be. And that way you have this submission with the additional instructions, but also if you're not able to explain this more in class, you have the context to create a quick video to explain it. And same recommendations on before. This is pretty self-explanatory, so you wouldn't necessarily need to put it on a page. But for the diagram practice, you might want to put this JPEG on a page, and that way you can add some text to describe what it is they're supposed to be doing with this JPEG. Even if you go over it in class, if a student missed or if they happen to be not paying attention, this is really a great way for them to be able to have some additional instructions about what they're supposed to do with this JPEG versus having it as a standalone file.